Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
It's March Mania at Sports Interaction. NHL, NBA, March Madness, MLB, and so much more. It is bananas. You can play Pinata Picks or Minute Madness, exclusive games with insane odds you can't play anywhere else, so make your next bet with Sports Interaction. You can download the app in Ontario using the QR code below, or you can head over to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN to get started. And please remember that it's 19 plus and to play responsibly.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion saves tonight. The Leafs just got goalied, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone tuning into Game Over Toronto. They just got absolutely goalied after what was a pretty awesome performance. I can't lie. The Leafs played extremely well for most of the game, except for the first 10 seconds.
The first 2 minutes. And I'm Armaan and Fouad.
Yeah, there you go. I'm Fouad Sullivan. Welcome to Game Over Toronto on the SDPN. I mean, that's a classic Leafs one because there wasn't a lot of plays aside from the horrific giveaway by, I believe it was Jake McCabe and John Tavares just not connecting there, and it just ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Other than that, what else could I really point at? I didn't see too many terrible things to comment on, but my goodness, that Alex Lyon, man, I can't tell you I know much about him, but that's kind of the point.
He was excellent. There were a couple amazing stops that he had. I know Marner hit the post, but he followed that pretty well. The Zach Aston-Reese penalty shot was a really good tracking play. There was the one where he was on his back and just
the Nylander one just a couple seconds ago.
Yeah,
the Nylander save, the full on Nylander was point blank period right there in the slot, and he just absolutely performed grand larceny. I don't know what it is about these goalies. Just the last couple games, the Leafs have been snake bit by less than, well, not Ilya Sorokin, but they're always, it's kind of a fun little Leafs gag that they get goalied by.
Random guys. Alex Lyon has 7, before this game at least, he had 7 games played in this season. Goals against average of 4.09 and a save percentage of 876. And he just absolutely demolished us. It's what can you do? Because they generated a lot of chances.
Right. Yeah.
The one thing I'll say is starting off the game was horrible. That I'm not even gonna blame Tavares too much on that play, the first goal, because that pass was straight to his feet. It was not a good pass by McCabe.
I barely sat down and I had to I was oh geez. That's just, I mean, those happen, but I think maybe we watch the team too closely. I'm pretty sure these kinds of gaffes happen to every team, but it seems like it happens a lot to Leafs fans.
Shen had a great quote very recently. I think it was after the last game, during this break, where he was just talking about how sometimes he'll discuss it in the room about just getting it. Sometimes it's better to just take it off the glass and out to relieve pressure. And that was one of those times where it was you put a pizza of a pass, it's not very good.
As opposed to just giving it to the opponent.
High danger area.
It's a great observation, Luke Shed.
And then the other thing was late in the game, I think with 1 minute to go, Marner had a play in the offensive zone where he kind of spun it around at the blue line of the Panthers and backhand passed it, and it got picked off, and it was almost a breakaway if McCabe didn't save his ass. And that was a play where it's just you're up 1 goal.
Yeah, there's a lot of just
with a limited amount of time remaining. Oh, sorry, it was 10 minutes remaining. A limited amount of time remaining against a very high octane offense. Florida is a team where once you go up, you really have to lock it down because they're not a particularly great team this year. But that's purely on the defensive side. They rank in the top 5 in terms of goals for per 60, expected goals for per 60, Corsi per 60. All of these offensive metrics, we know that Florida is a fast, high octane team, and I felt once we went up 1 was when we played our worst.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It was, a lot of sloppy plays. I mean, that's kind of what, a lot of Leaf fans, a lot of people are kind of upset about the loss for sure. I mean, we should all be kind of upset about the loss, but some people were saying that like pathetic ending. That's our shut it down team getting all ready for the playoffs. Oh yeah, well Ryan O'Reilly wasn't there. Let's be fair.
and we'll get to that because it is an interesting comment because I do worry a bit about this team and their readiness for playoffs right now. I want to see more ramp up, and there are a couple quotes that I want to get to later about this during that
Yeah.
the break between the last game and this game. But yeah, it was I don't know. I think it was like the last minute when they had the extra guy on the ice, the empty net, that we really kind of lost a bit of structure, and that's expected.
Yeah.
But their empty net goal is like super high danger. Like that's one you really don't want to give up. And it's gonna happen, but yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like the way we played in the last 5 or 10 minutes defensively. I thought we were fantastic the rest of the game. Like I thought
Yeah.
like
it was a
once
dump.
it hit like the 3-minute mark of the first period, it was us all the way up until the 58th mark of
Yeah.
the game. And you give a good enough team very limited amount of opportunities, sometimes they'll bury all of them.
Desperate team too, right? I mean,
good point. Yeah.
They're like where they're 3 points back. I guess now they're 1 point back, but is Pittsburgh playing tonight?
I'm not sure actually.
I reckon not.
Check.
But the point being is, and this is something we've been talking about almost every stream, is that we're playing every team that the Leafs are playing is a desperate team dying to get into the playoffs. So
yeah.
But obviously, it's I don't think they played terrible enough for me to say, oh, you got to play harder. I think they played hard. Like at the thing, I'm normally the first one to point out like bad stuff or like negative play, but I don't know. Sometimes you just get goalied. That's just straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It sort of reminded me of the game against the Hurricanes recently, where it was we get down into a hole pretty early. And it's, just the way the game went. I'm not going to dog on Jake McCabe for that pass too often because he doesn't make mistakes like that too often.
Yeah.
We've seen Jake McCabe and he has pretty good results on the team so far, especially paired with Brody. I think they've been an excellent pairing together. And so I'm not going to, that's not much of a concern for me per se. But much like the Hurricanes game, we dominated that game for a pretty large portion of it and just came out with a loss.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the same thing here. The Panthers, to their credit, made good with the few chances that they ended up getting. And they were high danger chances, let's be real. Like Samsonov made, the very first shot on Samsonov was a high danger chance. It was like a slot shot. That could have gone in. And then the second shot actually did go in. It was a horrible start for the Leafs.
Yeah, really bad. But
yeah. It happens. Sometimes you lose games and
sometimes
it sucks.
You lose.
But yeah, I just want to see the ramp up being better. I didn't like the way we handled once we got the lead.
You just can't. Well, yeah. I mean, at this point, they're not really. It's not like every point is life and death because of the way the standings have shaken out. I think they're still about 7 points up on Tampa Bay. I don't know if that's changed the last time I checked, but point being is they're pretty well in a good position as far as high as they're going to go. But to your point, I think right now, Leaf fans want to see, if not perfection, they want to see that they are absolutely a well-oiled machine, completely, mistakes to a bare minimum. Because, like you've seen in the playoffs, one little mistake is a very gargantuan mistake. It is a very.
You just need
it's
Galchenyuk to do that little spin pass in the offensive zone in Game 5, or Dermott to do that spin move in Game 6.
What is with the spin? Why did they do that? I know it's 2 years ago. Why did they do that?
Yeah, it's just I'm not even gonna they are skilled players and that's how they play the game.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know. Sometimes you just can't be making that play and you just have to hit it off the glass and out. But we're not gonna go and relive the trauma of our past.
Yeah, we have an international listener here. We have if I butcher the name, I'm sorry, Carl Valfredson. talking to us from Sweden. I think he's up way early in the morning. Just wanted the Leafs to win to help my Islanders in the standings. I got up at 1 a.m. to watch the Islanders and Leafs games, and I only got half the results I wanted. Technically, you got
Sorry,
like
buddy.
75%. No, wait, because like the Leafs.
No, it doesn't matter if the Leafs get a point.
No, right. What am I thinking? You don't care about the Leafs. Well,
Yeah, they need Florida to lose.
I mean, you are watching a game over Toronto, so you kind of care about the Leafs. So, like, welcome.
I did have Sorokin on my fantasy team, and I'm in playoffs, so I'm very glad that he only let in 1 goal.
There you go. There you go. See, it's all positives all around. Maybe Carl next season will become a Leafs fan. You know,
oh God, we all hope not, because that's a world of hurt.
We don't wish that upon our worst enemies.
Yeah, we don't wish that on our worst enemies, man. But yeah,
boy.
like, you know, it was a tough game. The 3-on-3 overtime, like after our chance, like I thought we looked pretty sloppy on that. Like once it was a 2-on-1, it was.
Yeah.
I think everyone watching was like, yeah, that's going in.
They had Tavares in there too, right?
Yeah, Tavares isn't great on 3-on-3. Like he's a bit too slow for it. But the thing about 3-on-3 is, like, you know, as Leaf fans, we're constantly talking about regular season doesn't matter, blah, 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 playoffs. We don't see 3-on-3 in the playoffs. It really doesn't matter. Like where we are right now, we need 8 points in 8 games to secure home ice. And that's if Tampa wins the rest of their games. We just have to go 500. So it's a stable position. Like obviously it's not guaranteed and everything, but like knock on wood, we're probably going to get that. Yeah. And so to me, this little 3-on-3 doesn't matter to me. Like how we play on 3-on-3. Yeah. It's irrelevant at this point. Yeah. We can't catch Boston. It's very difficult for Tampa to catch us. It would be a monumental collapse if we did get caught. But like
that would be something. That would be.
We would have to go less than 500 and for Tampa to win the rest of their 8 games. Like the chances of that happening
are you new here?
Very low.
Are you new here? You've seen this. You know.
I mean, it could. Oh, but I'm hoping that this 3-on-3 doesn't matter, because I don't really care about 3-on-3. It's never gonna happen in the
playoffs. Some of the gifts from this game were amazing.
Jake, the Maurice. Oh God!
Again, I butchered your name. I'm sorry, Jake McAnewey. Imagine if Maurice was coaching the Leafs and took a tantrum like that. Paul Maurice is probably. Like, I always like the coaches.
Red in the face.
I always, any sport, every sport, I love an angry coach. I don't know why, it's so funny. But Paul Maurice is so demonstrative, and like you can read his lips so easily. Like I was watching it with my girlfriend, and she's like, he just told his team to fuck off.
Yeah. And did you see when he was yelling at Matthew Tkachuk, and Tkachuk was like just staring like right back at him? It's a great gif.
He's just like, I am here for 8 years, and you are certainly not, Paul Maurice. That's what he was thinking in his mind. But it's a desperate team, and like, I don't know. I've always liked Paul Maurice. I don't know, as a quote. I don't know anything. I don't know if he's a great coach, that great of a coach, but
he wasn't with the Leafs, and he wasn't with the Jets. I'll say
no,
and he's not with the Panthers, in my opinion.
Poor guy. But it's the NHL, and everyone, it's the NHL, and he'll get another job next year if he wants it. So
exactly.
There's like 35 coaches in the NHL that just rotate. But he's always a great quote. He's always a good laugh to have.
He is a great quote. He's always a great quote.
Just when the face gets red, it just I don't know what it is. It makes me laugh.
But I understand the emotion. They're on the verge of a playoff, and they've been like skidding recently. Like I think since that Leafs game, they've lost like 3 in a row after that. So like 4, I think this was their first win in like 5 games.
They are a strange team. They're so strange. Like I don't think there's a team that had a weirder 12 months than the Florida Panthers. Like they were like wrecking the league last season, and like, they were, on top. They were like not quite to the level of Boston, but they were like had a pretty wide margin between the Leafs, who were second place, and Tampa Bay. And they trade their unprotected first next year for which is this year, for Ben Sherratt, and they get absolutely destroyed by the Lightning. Like they like a paper tiger. The Lightning just lit a match on them, and then
they fire their coach.
And then the offseason, they trade their franchise player for a young RFA cornerstone franchise player, which doesn't often happen. And then they have then they have a pretty bad season this year, no first rounder. So what a strange team. It's a strange, kind of a strange place, I guess, too. But, it kind of matches the team. But, it's a strange team. Yeah.
And there's one comment here as well from Cameron Gilmore. Some weird calls for sure. I do want to briefly touch on this, not too much.
Yeah.
Did you think the officiating was very weird? And not to like the Leafs, you know, credit or anything like that, but just like remember with the Nylander call where he tripped on the guy's stick and they called it anyways, even though it wasn't a penalty.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you? Yeah, it was
they
just
called it a hold.
yeah, they called it a hold, and there was not any holding there.
What?
Like I don't
What
know.
was that?
I think it's just they didn't want to say they were wrong. Like I don't get it sometimes.
The Panthers take so many freaking penalties too.
Yeah,
Even the
they
last two games the Leafs played them were exactly the same. Like they were just. I mean, the game was supposed to end. The game went like about 15 minutes longer just because of all the stoppages. And like a playoff series between these two teams would be kind of fun just because they're just so chaotic. Both teams are equally
and
chaotic.
the way Florida plays is just all offense. They don't have any like defensive structure. Like
No.
it's just really cheating for offense, and they're good at it. Like credit to them, they were fantastic at creating chances. Like it's
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a fun team to watch.
Yeah,
I find these games much more like fun to watch than like a defensive slugfest. You know what I mean? Even though that has their merit too, but like
yeah,
I just love games like this.
yeah. Travis says, so when the reffing is clearly in the Leafs' favor, it's just called weird. I mean, we are Leaf fans, so like obviously we're gonna get a little angrier if the refereeing is against us. But hey, when there's bad calls on both sides, I'll call them. Like I'll say, hey, that was a bad call.
Yeah,
But,
it was a bad call. Like
yeah.
that's why we're pointing it out. It's like that's what I'm trying to say. Is like
We're evolving.
It was bad.
We're evolving. We're trying to be more. We're trying to be more objective sometimes. You know, we're trying to have a bit of a more down the middle type view. But yeah, everybody. So just to remind you, hey guys, it's Fouad. Game Over Toronto. I'm here with Armaan, and we're talking about a strange night. Leafs getting goalied. Wasn't a terrible game, but not the result we kind of wanted. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button if you already haven't. Share it, tell all your friends. Ah, man, I gotta say, the Leafs need to make a long playoff run just so we can get Justin Bieber to be the Leafs version of Drake in 2019. Because Drake in 2019 was my favorite version of Drake. Whatever you want to think about Drake, music, and whoever he is, he was absolutely hilarious in that. Like he was an amazing ambassador. He was the ambassador for that moment. I don't know about it anymore, but in that moment, he was amazing. I mean, obviously the sports are different, so Justin Bieber cannot massage Sheldon Keefe's shoulders when he's stressed out like Drake did. But honestly, though, like on a serious note, if the Leafs were to go to the finals and he's like kind of like leading the charge of the fandom, it's kind of good for the league. He gets on ESPN. Goes viral with all the. He's an international superstar, so that would be fun.
The jersey here.
It's a nice jersey. I like it.
It's a very nice jersey. I love that jersey. Like, I really hope that with like the Fanatics deal, like those types of jerseys don't go away. Like I just love
the black is
creativity.
Good. I mean, the black jerseys are good. I feel like
I love the yellow side too. I know a lot of people don't like it. I fucking love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of cool. But the black jerseys, I used to see them like those like where they used to make like really like non-official team jerseys, like they'd be like really like different colors and designs. Like I had a fully silver Raptors jersey. It was weird, but it was cool. I don't know where it is. Like a silver Vince Carter jersey. The Raptors never wore silver, but like it looked pretty good on the ice. But yeah, give us a long playoff series so we can have some Bieber shenanigans there.
It'd be nice. And this is since the last game, because Florida lost to Ottawa their previous game. This was actually the first day that we not the first day, the first game since we clinched. I think we lost Fouad here.
Did you? No, I'm here.
Oh, okay, you're here. Never mind. You were frozen.
Oh, was I? I know.
You were completely frozen.
Was I? No, I think I was listening to you intently.
Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna watch that back and see.
You're not used to it because I'm just
I'm not used to staying still. Yeah, we always have to move the camera around because Fouad moves so much.
Because I'm antsy and I can't stay still. You can ask anybody.
This is the 7th year in a row we've made the postseason, and obviously they have to say postseason because technically we didn't make the playoffs in the bubble season because we lost in the play-in. So we did make the postseason 7 years in a row, and it sucks because this is not really an achievement, even though it is an achievement. Like it's a big deal for Matthews and Marner to make the postseason in every single one of their seasons.
Yeah,
like that's a very tough thing to do, and that's impressive. But it means jack shit to anyone.
Means nothing.
Like to no one. Like everyone looks at that and it's depressing. It's not like a triumphant thing to hear.
Yeah,
it's just depressing.
No, it's not anymore.
Because it's like, like it's just like I saw this. I think it was Sportsnet to tweet it out, or the NHL, one of them, and it was just like, oh Jesus Christ, we're gonna get made fun of for this.
Yeah,
deservedly
we're the
so.
Leafs. We're the Leafs. I mean, come on, your Leaf fans. You know, it's listen. If I was a fan of any other team, I would be laughing my ass off at the Leafs. Let's keep it 100. If you were a Habs fan, you would be laughing your ass off at the sadness.
Like, come on.
Like, come on. Like, we all laugh at the Knicks for how bad they are, or when the Dallas Cowboys always lose the first round. The Cowboys and the Leafs are so similar. When the Cowboys always blow it, I laugh like crazy. So anybody who's laughing at the Leafs, I would probably
understandable. I'm not
going to defend the team, to be honest, but
I do want to briefly talk about playoff ramping. So there was a few comments and questions made about this. So Shen had a comment prior to this game about Tampa and preparation, and he said this. I'm just going to quote it directly.
Yeah.
He said, "Your mind wanders there. We have a task at hand. You try to focus on the present in saying that we still have a handful of games left where we need to ramp our game up too. The one thing about Tampa is they always find their game. They have so many good core guys who have done it before. They are a veteran group of guys with an unbelievable goalie. They know what it takes.
Yeah.
In saying that, there is time left, and we need to elevate our game to feel comfortable going into a series feeling confident. Everyone is talking about what the picture looks like. There is no question we know how hard it is to be, but you have to build up to get there. It is still a process." And I wanted to talk about this quote because as of now, there are 8 games left in the season.
Yeah, not a lot, eh?
That's not a lot of time to ramp up. And,
No.
To me, what that says is in the room, I think, which is a good thing, they recognize that there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of getting playoff ready.
Yeah.
Because, if you watch games like this, or even like the Predators game was fantastic, but even the game against the Carolina Hurricanes, where we played very well against a very top team, there were still these moments where it's like, that'll kill you in a playoff.
Yeah.
In a playoff series. Like you don't have a large sample in a playoff series where things even out over time. It's 7 games. You make a big mistake.
The bar is extremely high. I mean, you're playing against a team that went to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. So they might be tired. They might be faltering at the end of the season, but who is going to look at the Tampa Bay Lightning and say, that's an easy way?
They're not ready. Yeah, right? Like
nobody's looking at they're like,
I'm expecting them to put up a war. Like, it's going to be tough. And so there was like 2 things that I took from that quote. A, they need to start ramping up soon. Like, I'm sort of not into the whole 11-7 scenario if they're not going to use that in the playoffs.
What's the point?
Figure out if you're doing that, and if you are doing that, stick with it.
I don't understand the purpose of having 7 defensemen. I don't.
I get it when Ryan O'Reilly's out in the regular season, but I don't count this as regular season. This is the pre-playoffs to me now.
It's a pre-playoffs.
This is when you need to really ramp up. I don't take this as regular season games anymore. This is preparing for playoffs, and I don't like seeing us kind of still tinkering with only 8 games left. And
the tinkering is concerning. The tinkering is what are you? Do you not have? I get it. O'Reilly's injured, and he's going to be a big part of what you're doing. So you have to kind of. It's kind of born out of necessity, but at the same time, just stick to something. I don't like the 11 defensemen. You need offense. You need offense against Tampa Bay. You're not,
and I don't think they're gonna go 11-7.
No. I mean, you're not gonna beat them by grinding them down and playing them like the New York Islanders, for example. You're not gonna beat them like that because they'll kick your ass. They're better at that than you are. They have to go with They have to
They've
play.
got such an elite goaltender, man.
Yeah,
Like,
you have to go with what brought you to the
Fatsy's
dance.
so good.
The offense has to be like picture perfect, right, to win.
Yeah.
Right?
But the thing is, like, with the 11-7, I think the offense is figured out. Like, with the lineups they have right now, the only thing that I think they're potentially going to switch is Kerfoot and Bunting from that second, third line.
Yeah.
And then I think Ryan O'Reilly is just going to slot in that third line, or he'll go into the second line left wing. But those are like two spots that really need to get figured out. And generally speaking, I think they're fine regardless of what they go.
Yeah. I think there's
with the defense.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say, I think there's a lot of positives to be taken too from the game. Like, first of all, Austin Matthews, I think there's a noticeable difference in his game. So where he's like, obviously he's scoring goals, but the fact that you notice the last few games, he's been so noticeable. Like, he's had so many chances, so many plays. Like, he is so much more involved, like, in the offense than he was in the previous games. And like, that's a sight for sore eyes when he clapped the shit bomb from the point. Absolutely beautiful.
And he's fired up on every single like goal.
Yeah.
Like, he wants it, and I love that. I love seeing him fired up.
Yeah, because I think well, I mean, what they discussed was like, he had been injured and playing through injury, which is kind of wild. I mean, like, he had a wrist injury, which is like, I mean, like, you kind of need those to play hockey, right?
And
like,
especially with his shot, like, it's pretty important.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's ramping up and he's becoming the Austin Matthews that we saw last season, and this is the time he's going to ramp up and do it. Well, I mean, that's everything you ever wanted, right? Like, if he can go into a playoff series and be a 1.5 game player, I think you're winning.
Also, that line combination has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, that Yarncroke Matthews Marner line.
Yeah.
Huge positive. Like, you stick with that. That's what I mean. Like, you have a line there, and you're going to stick with that every single game.
Yeah.
Pretty much until game one.
Yarncroke's been good. Yarncroke's been good in there.
Right? Paul had a comment on the 11-7, and he said, the rotation is getting a little bit easier the more you play it and understand how it is going to work, and that has been good. I don't know what the long-term plan will be, but I think everyone is good with it.
Yeah.
And like, listen, these are just quotes. We don't know what's going on in the room. We're not insiders. So like, but I really hope that the long-term plan isn't to use the 11-7. I personally do not like it. Yeah. Like, that's just my thoughts on it. I'm not a huge fan of it, especially when Ryan O'Reilly and Achari are back. Like, you have 12 great forwards. Until someone gets injured, that should not be in your plan.
Like, you have so many guys that you're like thinking like, oh, like Zach Aston Reese is not going to be in the lineup most likely. Like, you have guys that are you have tough decisions to make in the forward group. It's not like you have a
Zach Aston Reese scored today, and he almost scored another one.
No, I know, but like, if you look at the projected playoff lineup, nobody has him in there, and rightfully so. Like, he's a good player, but not that good. I have to shout out a fan here. Johnny D is I'm a Leafs fan from Liverpool, England. Along with Liverpool and Toronto, I'm also a big Cowboys fan. 3 massive clubs who always get let down. But in 2020, Liverpool did win the league championship. So that won the league after a 32-year wait back in 2020. I don't know much about English Premier League football, but that's good. At least you got one. Right? Yeah. Like, Johnny, I had the Raptors. I saw the Raptors win the championship, and I'm 29, and that was like the first of any of my teams to win a championship. I guess Toronto FC, but I'm not that big of a football fan, soccer fan. But like I had to be 25 years old for that. So, but hey, man, this got to be the year, man. This has got to be the year. Come on, like, are you satisfied with? What are you satisfied with? You think a first round series? Yeah, because like
winning a first round is
the bare minimum,
the biggest thing for me. Yeah,
like
bare minimum, win the first round.
Yeah,
listen, if we win the first round, like, obviously everyone, Stanley Cup is the goal. Anyone who says like second round is the goal, no,
so
Stanley Cup is always
31 other teams, right? Like, everybody,
right?
That.
But being realistic, if we win a first round and then take Boston to 7 in a really competitive series, I think I would be okay with that. Now, being like, I'd be very disappointed.
It wouldn't be,
but I wouldn't be like, It wouldn't be like, get the pitchforks out.
No,
everyone's
first round. That's a catastrophe. I'm sorry. I don't care who you're playing.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like, you're more talented than Tampa Bay is right now. They're older. They're tired. There's no excuse. Because I have a cousin like one of my closest cousins, and like he's checked out of the Leafs. He's like, talk to me when we're talking.
Yeah.
He's more
a lot of casual fans.
Oh, he's not
even I don't blame them.
Yeah. He's so what did he's like, what did I say? I'm like, oh, I don't care if we win the first round. Talk to me in the conference finals. That's what I care about. And I'm like, so they have to be Boston. That's your bar. He's like, I'm like, do you know how good you know how good Boston is? He's like, I don't care. He's like, but I showed him how good Boston was. Like, yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah, like it's a really tough matchup. And like, you look back at our first round losses, and all of them, apart from I think Columbus and the first time Boston won against us, went to like the Cup final. Like Boston in 2019 went to the Cup final. Montreal went to the Cup final. Tampa Bay last year went to the Cup final. Washington in the first year was a President's Trophy team, and we barely squeaked into the
17.
playoffs.
Yeah. It's insane. And
like we've had tough series.
Yeah.
Like the Montreal series, we should have won 100%. The Columbus series, we should have won 100%.
Like to me, the NHL in 2021, like the Montreal series is bad, but I've blocked out the memory of both those seasons. I don't know. I can't really recall much beyond like the Leafs. Like I didn't like it was so hard to watch without the fans, and obviously the 2020 bubble was just losing to Columbus was just let's be honest. I remember there was
so bad.
There was a stat that like this. I think it was like the Leafs core four had the same amount of money paid to them as the GDP of like Luxembourg, and then and then they had the same amount of points or something like that. I'm like, that was a really good tweet. I always like tweets like those.
Oh God.
But I think it was Luxembourg or something like that, some smaller country. But yeah, overall and above all, I don't think this one is one for too much alarm. I think it's one to be like, oh, I don't know.
They played well. They didn't get the result. You slipped up a couple times. You don't want that to happen again.
They got the
Fix
loser
it in
point.
the next 8 games.
Got the loser
You
point.
get the loser point. You're 1 point closer to clinching home ice.
So next game is
That is
Ottawa,
what
right?
it is, eh?
Ottawa, right? Is it home Ottawa or on the road?
Let's check.
It
Actually,
might be road. I don't know anymore. I don't work at the MLSE anymore, so I can't.
it is a road game for
road
us.
game. Okay,
It
cool.
will be in Ottawa. And the good thing about losing
So home
today
game.
is
Home game. It's to be a home game in Ottawa. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing is Ottawa's one step closer to missing the playoffs because we gave Florida 2 points. So
Yeah. Hey, they might give up
have fun with that.
might give up a good pick to the Coyotes. Ah, man, that'll be fun. I think it's I think they're okay. I just got we got to see a little bit more. And I mean the last couple games, you have some tough matchups. They have some tough matchups coming up. They're gonna have Boston, they're gonna have the Rangers. I think they have a Tampa as well, too. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's hey, that's a good time to ramp up, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the time you want to ramp up. If you don't want to be if they were playing like Chicago and San Jose and Anaheim all at the end of the season, which would be really weird if they did, but that wouldn't be very indicative either. You want them to test their metal, right? Iron sharpens iron, as they say. But as Nudie75 says, sometimes you lose. Just next time, don't. Don't next time. That's a good way to end it off. My name is Fouad Suleiman. Thank you for tuning in to Game Over Toronto.
And my name is Armaan. Thank you for tuning in. All right.
And
a good one.
Let's rock and roll. Yeah.
Beauty ending.
I don't know. I just made it up. Yeah.
Right,
rock on.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.